At about 5,500 miles, the US and Canada share the longest international border in the world. It's also a very porous border.
Asylum seekers walking over the borders.
A refugee reality check.
The growing number of border jumpers seeking asylum in Canada.
But we need a dedicated force at the border now.
More and more people are being arrested for illegally crossing the Canadian border. They're crossing in places that don't have border stations, sometimes hiking for hours in freezing temperatures.
His hands are frostbitten and bandaged, the result of hours in the freezing cold.
They said I'm gonna lose all my fingers.
But Seydou Mohamed says it's worth it for a chance to make a refugee claim in Canada.
Many of these illegal crossings are happening in Quebec, which shares a border with the states of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. In the first 2 months of 2017 alone, almost 1,100 people have crossed illegally into Quebec and claimed asylum. In the same time last year, only 237 crossed over. A lot of the refugees crossing into Quebec are using this small backcountry road in upstate New York. It's called Roxham Road, and using it to get into Canada is as easy as just hopping over a ditch with all of your stuff. The border at Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta has also seen a spike in refugees. 107 crossed in the first 2 months of this year, compared with only 45 the year prior. Many of these crossings are near Emerson, Manitoba, which sits on the northern borders of Minnesota and North Dakota. Refugees hike for hours through freezing temperatures to cross here. People's reasons for fleeing vary. Some fear deportation under President Donald Trump's new travel ban. Others fear mounting anti-Muslim sentiment. The head of the Department of Homeland Security says most of them are in the U.S. legally, and the question of why they're fleeing is perplexing. The reason folks are choosing to cross the border illegally is a little more clear. There's a loophole in the Safe Third Country Agreement. Under this agreement, signed by Canada and the U.S. in 2002, refugee claimants can only get refugee status in the country they first land in. So crossing into Canada legally to make a refugee claim just gets a person sent back to the U.S. But if they get around the official ports of entry and cross illegally, they can make their claim and are entitled to a hearing. Some Canadians have called on Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to close the loophole, saying it's putting asylum seekers at risk. Others have called for Trudeau to ditch the agreement altogether.
If the government admits there's a problem, why won't they do anything about it?
Honorable Minister of Immigration.
It's tricky ground for the Prime Minister. Scrapping the agreement could imply his country has taken the position that the U.S. is no longer a safe place for refugees.